Everybody, it's the Monday missing moment, but it's not in the morning. It's been a long day, so I'm in my favorite office in the garage, sitting in my box. But what I wanted to go over today, just a couple things. I always feel like, I told Donnie today, I said, I kind of feel like I'm always bitching about something, but I'm really not trying to be ugly. What I want to do is just try and help other people not fall into the same places where we are, or just help make people be aware of what is happening in our world and what maybe they should be aware of, whether they're agents, buyers, or selling folks that are selling their home. But this week, over the weekend, we had a withdrawal on one of our contracts, on one of our listings. And the withdrawal was based on the fact that their client couldn't get financing. So, not really a surprise, because honestly, you know how sometimes you really know in your gut what's going to happen, but you keep giving people the opportunity to prove themselves. Or it was a good offer. We had 3 offers. My client selected this one based on the numbers, based on what their walkaway was going to be. It was a online lender, red flag number 1, a door opener real estate agent company that is just difficult to do business with one way or the other, because there's so many different people that are involved in their transactions. You have the person who opens the door, that get paid to open the door, and they get pissed off if they can't open the door, because then they don't get paid. Then you have the person that probably writes the contract. Then you have someone else that is in the office. But it's just so many people that are involved in a transaction with this red company. It's very difficult, and they are paid a salary. So sometimes you just wonder, where their head is. Are they going to do the right thing, or the hardest work? Because they're inundated, because they basically they're on call. It's like an ER doc. Like when anybody comes through the door, boom, their beep goes off, boom, they've got to go open the door for somebody. It's basically an Uber driver for a real estate company, or basically a showing agent for a real estate company. So anyway, I thought hard and fast about trying to make sure that my clients were well taken care of, and making sure that they were selecting the best offer. So it's not always the numbers, you guys. Sometimes there's the terms that are a big deal of it too. Whether they're going to waive all their contingencies, whether they're going to do a home inspection, whether they're going to bring money to the table over the appraised value. All kinds of things play into an excellent contract. Then you get the good contract, and then you get the not so good contract. So the not so good contract in this deal was someone who was asking for closing costs, and that was 3%. And so my client selected this offer. They went with this offer, and then we get notice that, hey, we need to have an extension on the timeline to get our earnest money deposited. So that's red flag number 4, I guess I should say. Lender, agent, number 3, I guess. And then red flag for the earnest money. So they would need an extension to have the money to put their earnest money in escrow that they agreed to in the contract for the amount. I'm like, are you kidding me? Did anybody read this contract? Did anybody share this contract with their client? I don't think she understood the contract. I don't think she understood what she needed to do. And there also lies an issue, because she didn't know she was going to have to put $5,000 in escrow. She hadn't considered the fact that she needed that money like when we had a ratified contract. So they asked for an extension. I told my clients, I'm like, you got to have something. We need some skin in the game. So they agreed to $1,000 to be put in escrow with an extension of 2 days, then to come up with the other $4,000. Okay. So we're still playing nice in the bucket. So with that said, though, the lender should have known that their client wasn't going to have enough money to even put the earnest money in, much less have enough money for her 3.5% down payment that she was going to need for an FHA loan. Lender had no idea. Now, I called the lender, and that lender called me back, and that was a jet mortgage. Okay, so I, again, had apprehensions about doing business with them because they're online. They tell people what they want to hear, get them going, and then try to make everything work, pull it together. Well, this one wasn't going to be able to pull together because this lady was going to pull her funds from her TSP funds, but she hadn't enough vested funds that she could pull from to make this deal work. Anyway, all this stuff should have been known up front. Everybody should have known. The lender should have known that, she was going to pull from TSP funds. It was going to take longer than they had. And oh, by the way, longer for the earnest money to be deposited. And oh, by the way, I don't have the money vested in my retirement that I can pull from. Lenders should have already known all that crap. The other thing that I'm very disappointed in the real estate agent and the red crowd is that she said, Missy, I've been working with her for a couple months and I just thought everything was cool. And I'm like, really? You're going to run around and show houses? Oh, that's right, though. You do get paid to open doors. You're going to run around and show houses and open doors so you can get paid for someone who can't buy a house, who doesn't have enough cash opportunity or cash option in her retirement fund to put down a down payment and have enough for an earnest money deposit on a contract that is her skin in the game. So, lessons learned. Missy, go with your gut, because my gut said it's going to be ugly. I know it's going to be ugly because I have two companies that have a terrible reputation amongst the agent world. The real world doesn't know. All they know is they're gonna pay me $1,000, a good faith, what do they call it? Credit. They're gonna give me $1,000 credit. Well, really? Well, if you lose how many deals and you have to pay how many more months of rent, or if you're listing with them and you have to pay how many more months of a mortgage payment, or people avoid showing that house because it's such a pain in the butt to do business with them, why? Just help me understand why. And I'll tell you why. I understand why. It's because people are not educated. So they're so uneducated that this lady who doesn't have enough money to put down her earnest money for the contract that she signed, that she agreed to, although she probably didn't read it or it wasn't explained to her. The appraisal was done today. I didn't go meet the appraiser. That deal is dead. That deal is dead, yet that appraiser will still get paid. Who pays for that, do you think? The buyer does. The buyer who has not enough money for earnest money, not enough money to put down on the purchase of her home. She now, because the agent didn't stop the ball or stop the train, and the lender didn't call the appraiser and let him know to cancel. So that's probably $600 bill, $600 to $1,000 bill that now this lady's also going to have to pay because her agent and her lender did not take care of her. So, hashtag just saying. The numbers are not always the best. The numbers are not always the deal maker for a contract. So your agent needs to be someone that is not just paid to open doors. Your agent needs to be vested in your well-being. Your lender needs to actually pull your credit, pull your tax stuff, and, oh, by the way, maybe make sure that you have enough money vested in your TSP fund, if that's where you're going to take your money from, before you start looking at houses. Anyway, she sent the void of the contract over earlier today. We can't accept another offer while we're still in contract with the first contract. You can't be involved in two contracts. So she sent the void of the offer. We actually needed the withdrawal of the whole deal. No earnest money was deposited, but anyway, I think we just received it. I see it come on my email while I'm sitting here on the phone with you guys. But that's a missing moment. That's what we all have to be aware of, that when you are taking a contract, you as a seller, you need to just be aware that doesn't always come down to the numbers. It comes down to the numbers, the terms of the contract, all the contingencies or not that are included, the lender and the agent. Bye, you guys. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great one.